Welcome to the Soulish Podcast. My name is Whitney Apke, and I am your host. On the Soulish Podcast, we talk about the soul journey, the body soul spirit connection, and I share my journey openly and honestly, as well as I have guests on who are thought leaders, truth seekers, come from all different backgrounds and religions and belief systems and modalities. And some are entrepreneurs, some are mediums, some are healers, some are people that are just on a journey and want to share it with the world and have amazing hearts and are of service to the world. And I love bringing on guests who are supportive in our journeys and who have inspired me, encouraged me, uplifted me. And I want the same for you. And anytime that I share my journey, I also have that same intention. Today's episode is a long time coming. It's been many months since my last episode, and that's for a very good reason. I have taken time over the last couple months to really bring in my energy and really focus in on healing. And that is because I had surgery in May, end of May 2024. And I had a mass removed from my leg, which I thought was just a cyst. I had been seeing a homeopath, and for like the whole year, going through a huge detox and really trying to see why this mass was growing. And basically, what was coming back on biofeedback was that it was heavy metals, it was viruses, it was a bunch of different things accumulating in that mass. So the homeopath and I thought, oh, it's just a cyst, but it wasn't going away. So I decided to remove it. And about a couple months later, the day before my birthday in July, mid-July, I got a call from the surgeon that wasn't so great, but it was awesome in the fact that it initiated me into a new journey, into another journey, a deeper journey of healing. But I want to preface what I'm about to share because my intention in sharing this, which I've sat on for a very, very long time of deciding, do I make it public? Do I share this with my audience, with you, or do I keep it private? And I really wrestled with that. And for a while, I just like let it go and let it lie and just kind of sit on it. As I always say, table it and see how this comes up and when it comes up, when I feel inspired and ready to share it with you all. My intention is to support. My intention is to help anyone who has ever gotten the call, as I call it lovingly and affectionately, the call, which is not a fun call to have. It's very challenging and there's a lot of components in it. So, this is the first of a couple episodes that I'm going to share on this part of my journey and what it's been because there's so much to share. And I'm going to make this a separate series specifically talking about body healing and that kind of stuff, more health related. So if you know anyone who has ever gotten the call and has received news that they have cancer, had cancer, have a certain type of disease, whatever it is, if you or somebody you know has experienced that, this episode and this series is going to be for you. I have accumulated every resource that I gathered up. And I have it in a resource guide, which is going to be linked below in the show notes for you, and it's free. And these are just basically all of the modalities that I use personally. I'm not a medical professional, right? I can't give medical advice, but these are all the resources that I researched because I went in deep into a journey of like finding how to heal and heal in a deeper way because I needed to come at this with the same aggressiveness that Western medicine has, but in an alternative, holistic way is the choice that I took and the journey that I took in this. Now, if you decide to go the Western medicine route, go the radiation chemo route, that is your sovereign choice. And I'm never going to be the person who says you're wrong. If you feel led and guided to go a certain direction, that is your sovereign choice, and I honor that. So I just want to start with that. This is in no way meant to poo-poo on Western medicine. This is in no way meant to glorify alternative holistic modalities, but this is simply me sharing what I've found, what I've been using, and the benefits that I've had. I'm still very much in my journey of healing, and so I'm in no way and in no means at the tail end or have arrived at some certain place of optimum health. I am on the journey and I share this with you being in the journey. So I ask from you and from anyone watching this or watching the series to give me grace, compassion, and to give me love and all of the good vibes. I would really, really, really appreciate that. Giving me advice, giving me any resources that you've found. I am open to that, but I would ask that you would do it not in a place from all knowing, not from a place that is ego. You think you know better than me or better than anyone else. I ask that when you do share, and if you do share any advice or any resources yourself that you found, that you would do it in a very loving, kind, respectful way. That I will accept wholeheartedly. So, just want to start with that. So, in sharing my journey, I am being very vulnerable and open, and I have held off on this for a reason. Um, when I got the call, I found out that the mass that I had had is categorized as a pleomorphic soft tissue sarcoma. So, what that means is that it's many, it's high grade, it's high mitosis. So, it's the cells are dividing very quickly, but that there's also a lot of dead tissue, a lot of what's called necrosis tissue in the sarcoma, as well as it was in my soft tissue. So, it was in the fascia and it had not even adhered to my muscle. It hadn't touched my bone, which for sarcomas specifically, what I learned in all of my research is that if it roots, what is called rooting, so it adheres or connects in with the bone or blood, it can then metastasize, which means that you then have the potential for having multiple sarcomas throughout your body. Most of the time, sarcomas are located in your chest, your abdomen, or on an extremity. So I really think it was divine personally that the sarcoma was located right on my shin, like close to my shin on my calf, like on the front of my right leg. And it was totally encapsulated by my fascia. So it was totally encapsulated and which is why we thought it was a cyst. And it felt to the touch very watery. It wasn't hard. And so that also led me and the homeopath that I was working with to believe that it was a cyst. I have done a lot of research in German New Medicine, and German New Medicine for me, in a lot of ways, reframes things that we have been conditioned, I believe, to think of as a negative or like the end, KO'd, out, or like a death sentence. And German New Medicine reframes it as that's actually your body trying to heal from some sort of conflict or multiple or long conflicts that have happened. And if I look back in my life, I've had many conflicts, as we all have had multiple conflicts, lots of stress, right? Depression, suicidal, all the things. I was sexually assaulted a couple years ago. I gave up a long-term relationship and have since not found anyone to partner with, right? It's been like this journey of what I thought my life was going to be like. And it was so insane that the day before I turned 37 is when this doctor, this surgeon decides to call me. So this birthday, it was an insane day of reflection and initiation into this journey. And honestly, I now can look back and say, what an amazing what an amazing like jump start into a new year of life for me, Um, because it's just been amazing all of the resources that have come since then and the journey that I've been on. I immediately after the call took a moment and I, of course, had this full on, experience of the word cancer and the fear that's associated with it. And this episode specifically, I want to talk about that moment of the call and getting the call and being told what I need to do next and the level of urgency and fear behind it, even from the surgeon, which sometimes doctors can come off very non emotional. And this doctor, this surgeon, was extremely emotional about it and was pushing that onto me, whether he knew it or not, or was aware of it or not, no judgment. But I felt the full force of it, plus the fear of like, holy shit, what does this mean? Um, and so, a couple of things that happened for me in my experience, and I know everyone's experience of this may be different, and there may be some similarities, but let me just share with you mine. I immediately was afraid for my life. And because there was such a fear on where else there was sarcomas and the fact that I'm so young, the fact that this sarcoma was so big, and and so there was just so much fear around that. And how long I also had it, which I had had it for about a year. And so immediately fear of death. So immediately I start having the thoughts of like, oh my God, I may not live to see 38 or 40. I may not live to 45. And I immediately dove into research on what this meant because I had no clue what pleomorphic meant or even like a sarcoma and what that is. And as I found out that the lifespan is 5 to 10 years, it threw me into this tailspin of like, oh my God, I could have like 5 to 10 years more of life and that's it. Like, wow. The second wave was guilt and shame that I've been curvy and thick my whole life, and that I didn't always eat well. That I've since been on a journey of health and healing and learning nutrition and learning what my body needs and fitness and strength and coming into all of that. And so it was this total shame of like all of the years that I hadn't done that and that I had eaten fast food, McDonald's, hadn't eaten well or healthy or had eaten too much or too little. Um, all the guilt of what I haven't done or what I have done. And the shame associated with even saying that I had cancer and just like feeling like such a failure at life and such a failure that I couldn't even stay alive, that I suck so bad that I just basically am dying. I killed myself. It's like immediately it was just this weight of guilt and shame. Um, so much so that I just wanted to crawl into a corner and just call it done. Um, and so to move this energy, I was like, let me go for a walk. So I went on a walk and I thought it was going to be this awesome, like cry, get it out, walk, scream if you need, holler if you need, wail if you need to. You're going to be in the middle of nowhere. And it was actually really not glamorous at all. I was crying and wailing and trying to breathe. And then it's mosquito season here in Colorado. So then I'm getting all these mosquitoes stuck to my face. It wasn't cute. It was like the little humor moment of like, I'm trying to have a moment and have like a movie moment where I'm like crying and getting it out and being super dramatic because I just need to be, and it's not working. It's not cute. It's not film worthy, that's for sure. But I was able to move, and I think movement is so critical when you are feeling stuck and unable to move past an emotion or a thought or anything. I think movement is so key. So that was really helpful, regardless of the disgusting like mosquitoes that are stuck to my face because I'm crying so hard. Um, and then being bit at the same time. Uh, but I got home and I immediately went into go mode. Like, okay, we cried it out, we got it out, we wailed, we had our moment. Let's get into research like today. Let's do something that's empowering. That's when I dove into sarcomas, into German New Medicine and what German New Medicine calls a sarcoma, what it says about it, the location of where the sarcoma is, all of that. And I can link that below as well. This is all going to be in the resource guide as well. So I went immediately into kind of twofer, holistic alternative definitions and Western medicine definitions. I quickly discovered that the only treatments in Western medicine for sarcomas or any tumors is radiation and chemo. Now, kind of I was really turned off by chemo for many reasons because I've learned a lot about it. I've watched my grandparents go through chemo and radiation. Not something I really want to go through, but I was open to learning about it and seeing why are these the only treatments for sarcomas. And I found out in my research that radiation actually causes sarcomas because it's so damaging to the tissue and to the area wherever you radiate. It's almost like 100% guaranteed, which I can't say fully, right? But it's basically a guarantee that you will get a sarcoma in that area that you got radiation. So you literally are creating tumors where you're trying to treat a tumor. So that's why the lifespan is 5 to 10 years because you are creating sarcomas where you're trying to get rid of sarcomas, and that creates more sarcomas and more damage to the body, and therefore it just spirals out. But these are the only treatments for sarcomas. There is nothing else other than removing the sarcoma, chemo, and radiation. So I was like, well, for me personally, that's not the road that I want to go down. And I believe that the body is so powerful that it knows exactly how to heal. I just have to give it what it needs to heal. And I need to do that quickly. I need to very, very quickly find alternative, as aggressive solutions. I've removed the sarcoma, but I now need to find alternative things to do. So I immediately was like, well, first thing that we can do is go on a very extensive full body detox. And luckily it's in the summer, so perfect time to detox and get rid of stuff. And I found Dr. Group, which I love him, appreciate him so much. And he has his company called Global Healing. Again, all of this is in the resource guide. And he has a complete body detox. It consists of a colon cleanse, two liver cleanses, and then a parasite cleanse, and then another liver cleanse, and then a heavy metal cleanse. And so he recommends that you do this for sure once a year, but do a parasite or heavy metal cleanse every 6 months because our water, our food is so inundated with parasites and heavy metals and all of that and toxins. So the heavy metals and toxic chemical cleanse is really important for helping your body to heal. So that felt really empowering. Like that was something that I could do then and there. And so I did that and I bought it and I started it immediately. Within that week, I got it and started it. So that was about a 4 month journey of detoxing and going through that. And I was shocked, like the things that came out, not just even during the parasite cleanse, but the liver cleanse alone was just insane. And I just want to put a word of caution that in the alternative medicine space, there's a lot of different recommendations. And I do believe that it is very important to make sure that you are taking a supplement that is safe and effective. You always want safe and effective, and that is a Western medicine term, but it goes into the same space of alternative medicine, that you need to make sure that things are safe and effective, because it can a lot of things are a waste of time and money. And can lead to major discomfort and issues. So, getting consultations and making sure that you have a homeopath, naturopath, someone that has medical, advice and education and knows you well and can also take tests with you and see how you're progressing and see what's going on in your body. That is huge, major, when detoxing, even. So I think it's really important to partner with the right people. For me, I felt like um, a few things kind of shifted and changed for me. And because of what I had gone through and that level of fear, even sharing it with my family, I was very careful who I shared it with and when, and in what energy I shared it in. The fear that I got hit with was so immense and so overwhelming. It took me a long time to work through that fear, but it felt very empowering doing something initially, like a cleanse, and that helped me kind of overcome the fear of the future, fear of what's going to happen, what's coming next. And so going through all of that and working through my own fear, the last thing I needed was someone else's fear for me. I didn't need fear being put on me because I was so sensitive energetically, I could feel it. And so I was very careful, and I actually had to kind of cut off a few even friendships temporarily and just let them know that I'm going on a personal journey, and I'll report back when I feel like it, when I'm ready to. But I was not going to continue to involve them in the, weekly, daily, monthly bit, but that I would report back because they just couldn't get over their own fear of it. And that was fine. And I totally honored that and had a lot of compassion for it because I get it. Having gone through it, I understand. But I was in a space where I could not take that on. And I don't know if any of you can relate. I've always been this way. I've always been preferring of others, and I've always been others first. And being a pastor's kid, being in ministry, being a pastor myself, I've always preferred someone else other than myself. And one of the beautiful aspects of this journey was it really brought me back into serving myself first and loving myself first and protecting myself first before doing that for someone else or others. And I became very protective of my energy, very protective over my mind, over my emotions, over my energy, over my body, obviously. But I became very protective, like mama bear for myself. And so I unfortunately had to be very careful who I interacted with. Very difficult. And I probably have lost a few friends because they couldn't hang in that space of me not being willing to share with them every detail, and them coming back with fear. So that's okay. That's part of the journey. And in every phase of life, we understand that some people are meant to be in that journey with you and some people are not. And if we can't get over our idea of people and what they're supposed to be for us, it can be very difficult. But if you can just release people from your own expectations and ideas of what they need to be to you for you, that will really help you in life in general. But certainly if you're going through a journey similar to mine. So, little word of advice. But I shared with my parents once I was ready to, and they were very optimistic. And the next phase, which was really difficult, I was told by my surgeon to get a CT scan immediately. But I refused to go to the oncologist because I already knew what the only treatments were that the oncologist was going to offer, and those were not in alignment for me, not a path that I wanted to go down. And I'm all out of pocket. I don't have health insurance because I work at nonprofits that don't offer health insurance, right? So this is all out of pocket for me, and the surgery alone was $12,000. So when all was said and done, even with self-paid discounts and private paid discounts, still it was very expensive. And so I'm going to pay $600 to go see an oncologist who's just going to give me a referral for a CT scan, which I had, after researching kind of all these scan centers in my area, was going to be also another $600. So I decided that I just wanted to get a CT scan to see what is there. Is there anything in my chest and abdomen? Because I just need to see if there's anything, and that will kind of determine the aggressiveness, my choices going forward. But I need to get scanned. It's like number one priority. So I'm on the detox and I look for scanning places, and they need a medical professional to refer me. So I asked the surgeon to give me a referral, and he refused. He refused because I refused to go see the oncologist that he recommended and referred me to. And so that was very disappointing. And dare I say, in my opinion, malpractice, because this is just a scan. This is just to empower me with information. So to prevent me from getting scanned was like, sorry, what? Why would you do that? Why would you prevent me from getting scanned? Like, then I can go see the oncologist with, if I decide to see the oncologist, I can go see the oncologist with the scan results, Like that's a two in one, thing. If I decide that. But no, he absolutely refused, and it was so disappointing. So disappointing, but that's how it often is, because the series of events that Western medicine will have you do is something happens like cancer, disease, or whatever. You go to the specialist, right? And that's fine. They specialize in a certain field, and there are many ways that they are helpful. But because of what I researched, I kind of already knew the only options, and I just knew that there has to be another option. This can't be the only option to treat and prevent in the future. There has to be a holistic approach that is just as effective. And so I was able to find online, you can get a CT scan referral from a medical professional. And that's how I basically skirted around. Now, what was really cool was this medical professional that I connected with through this site. Um, she was like exactly what I needed. And so I just always felt like a no was a yes, or a redirection into something else, or some meeting and connecting with someone else. And it was just such a divine process. So, and I kind of knew that. I was like, okay, as much as I'm really upset about the surgeon basically denying me and preventing me, and then postponing me getting a CT scan, because now I have to figure out, how am I going to do this? There has to be a way around this. Um, and so it was like really frustrating, but I knew, I was like, there's a reason why, because I know that I am being divinely guided and watched over in this. I feel the presence of spirit, all around me. And so I know I'm being guided. So this doctor was amazing, and I got my scan, and all was clear. So happy to announce that I am sarcoma free, that I have no other sarcomas in my body, which was awesome. And I basically brought my results because I found that I have two nodules that are very small, one on my right adrenal gland and one on my left lung. And so I brought the results to her and asked her, paid her to basically break down like what that was. She also broke down the pathology for me, which was really awesome, of the sarcoma that was removed. And so I was more able to understand terminology, and how important certain terms were and how unimportant other terms were. And so that was really educational and fantastic. And so bless her for taking the time to do that. And I gave her the scan results, and she was really happy. Obviously, we both were very happy with the results, but she also kind of broke down the two nodules and let me know, blah, 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 how to proceed with that, or how to um, watch them and all of that and make sure that I detox them away. And she also believed that this is totally detoxable, that your body can totally heal, and nodules like this can totally be eaten up by the body, but it can also go the other way. So you have to just be mindful and watch and just be aware. So it was super helpful and so divine for all of that. I just have to say, it was so divine connecting with her, and being educated by a medical professional. Again, so important. Whether Western medicine or alternative medicine, so important. Um, and so thus began my journey of finding different modalities that were just as aggressive, um, and or they may take longer and not be as like immediate, but I knew that if I don't detox and don't set up my body to be able to regenerate, I will create another sarcoma, because your body can only accumulate so much until it decides to do whatever the DNA is encoded to do. It hit me like a lightning bolt that sarcomas run in my family line, in my father's side. And so I was like, so my body had this encoded that, hey, we've got something. We've got a lot of somethings. We need to encapsulate it. We need to get rid of it. And this is how we do this. And German New Medicine is really cool. And I'll just break this down a little bit. We'll go more into this in other future episodes. But German New Medicine has, this is basics, is that there's a conflict, and then there's a resolution slash healing phase. So conflict phase, healing phase. So when you're in this conflict phase, your body is basically geared up, right? It's shielding up, it's ready to go, it's ready to take the hits, and it's basically just like fronting, right? It's being strong for whatever it is that you're enduring. So this could be mental, this could be emotional, this could be a physical something that's happening. This could be a trauma like sexual abuse, or maybe there's something that happens, even an injury, so much as like I sprained my ankle a couple months ago, and that was, I've never done that before, but it was fascinating to kind of come out of my body and observe it, and observe the phases that it took me through, in order to protect my ankle that just got injured. And it took many months for me to now finally feel like my ankle is normal again. But it was fascinating to see how I went into this almost zen-like state, like a euphoric state. Um, Also kind of like almost like pass out. But I immediately felt the pain, and then my brain took me into this high state. It was literally a high, but at the same time, I could tell that something was really wrong. I also felt like I was going to throw up. I started sweating everywhere. So adrenaline just like spiked like insane, and my body is sweating. And so I was able to crawl up the stairs and down the hallway and back into my apartment. My poor dog was like, "What's wrong?" And crawl to the couch and basically elevate my foot immediately. I didn't know if I broke it, to be honest. And because I live alone, I was like, well, shit. What do you do? Nobody's here to carry me up. So you got to crawl. But I was able to do it. And I basically just observed the body in this conflict state. And then the healing phase that took on, where it was this regeneration process. And acupuncture was huge in this. She actually stuck needles all around my ankle and foot and leg, opening up all the pathways to help move out all of the inflammation and the blood and get blood flow, and just kind of trigger that response in my body as I was healing it. And I mean, I would walk away from the acupuncture and I'm like, I don't even feel a twinge of pain. The bruising is gone. The swelling is totally down. It was just astounding to me, just something as simple as acupuncture, and how much that helped. So many things. I think in German New Medicine, this conflict phase, you can be in a conflict phase for years. You can be in a conflict phase for a day, an hour, just in a moment. Whether it's a sprained ankle or it's stress or abuse or depression or suicide, whatever it is that is around you, which for me, those are all the things that have been around me. Um, and and so I have definitely worked through that in so many ways. I've been on a long journey of getting out of that conflict phase, but I have to admit that in looking back, I've never really gotten out of the cortisol response and literally breaking out in hives over stress or turning red and having this fight or flight response over just an email. And so just kind of realizing like I never fully got out of this conflict phase until the last couple years. And so it just kind of hit me like I've been in this conflict phase for like a decade at least, if not a little more than a decade. And in just the last couple years, I've really moved into this place of healing and of going in deep, whether that's been in plant medicine, deconditioning, right, from my upbringing, programming, all of that, just really getting in and connecting even deeper into myself. And so there's been so much healing that's taken place, even amongst different things happening and popping off, but like ultimately, I've come out of that conflict state that I've been in for like a decade. And so it hit me, of course, my body would come into a healing phase, which in German New Medicine, a disease or cancer is actually an indication of healing in the body. It's not an indication of sickness. You were sick prior. The aftermath of that sick, of being sick, is that disease or is that condition or is that cancer, for me, sarcoma tumor. So that's kind of German New Medicine's theory on it. You can take that how you want, how you feel most aligned. I found it fascinating. And in reflecting back, it made sense for me. It made sense that my body would have accumulated so much stuff. And here I am, yes, I'm eating healthy, but probably not detoxing at the level that I needed to detox. I wasn't aggressive in detoxing. I was aggressive in eating clean and drinking clean and, cleaning my air, cleaning my energy space, mitigating EMF and all the G's and, doing all these different things that would help provide a really awesome, healthier environment for me to live in, including getting an air filter that's really powerful that makes sure that there's no mold and dust. So many things I've added into my life and cleaned up, skincare, cleaned up hair care, cleaned up even just sleep and prioritizing sleep. And I realized, oh my gosh, it would make sense that I haven't really aggressively detoxed. And so I'm in this accumulation stage because there is stages to detoxing. When your body is healthy and you're doing just fine, you're able to get rid of stuff like super fast. And your body can either through your lymph system, through, excreting, through different modalities, whatever it is, of your body, it basically has that natural ability to release anything that does not serve or support you, and even things that are dangerous. But we live in a really toxic world and a really toxic environment. Uh, Not even to say anything about like news and media and social media and all of that, but like just even our air, and our water and our food. The realization that food is not safe. A lot of food should not be labeled as food. And a lot of food isn't even real or alive or living food that can support your body and give your body what it needs to function. So, where does that go? And for a while, your body can detox, but it can only detox so fast. And if you're constantly feeding it fake, processed, not good, not healthy, no or very rarely a single ingredient food, then your body is going to become um, basically inundated with these chemicals, with these plastics, with these toxins, all of those things that it can't process as fast because it's trying to figure out the code and break the code and break it down. So like whatever it is that it can use, and whatever it can't, it basically either stores it or it eliminates it, right? So just realizing that I was in such a state of accumulation. And that is part of why a sarcoma came in to creation in my body, was because my DNA is encoded that if it can't get rid of it, store it this way. So that was in my DNA code. Now, as much as I appreciate that and just think it's amazing that the body knows how to do it, at the same time, I don't want to create sarcomas. I don't want to create a disease. I don't want to create more cancer or something that in my body, it's difficult now for my body to release that even more so because I was heavily detoxing, like sipping vegetable water and juice and soups and all that kind of stuff. I was eating so clean for like the entire year to try to see if my body could start to get rid of that. Like my body could detox so well that it could begin to eat that up and release that, eliminate it in the body instead of accumulating it in the body. And through tons of different homeopathic remedies and all of that, not just eating well, but the detoxing and all of that, um, I still couldn't get rid of it. So thus the surgery. And so I'm on this journey currently where I have found and discovered the Rife machine. I've discovered EES, which is Energy Enhancement System, which is a part of Unified Healing, or the Light System. And so that is also an amazing modality. Rife, Dr. Rife, we'll do a whole episode on him and this machine and frequencies that I found. But that was one of the things that my homeopath immediately loaned out to me, was a Rife machine, because it has programs for everything you could ever think of, including detox programs, which I have running all the time. But it has sarcoma programs, even rhabdomyosarcoma, which is what my father had, which is extremely rare. And the lifespan, it's like, you have a 8% chance, I think, of surviving rhabdomyosarcoma. At least when he had it, it was like 3%, 5%. Um, and so they have programs for everything, every ailment, every disease, even if it's just a cold that you're having. They have frequencies for that basically go into your body and help your body heal. It basically re-energizes your cells in such a way and communicates with your cells and communicates with your body to basically eliminate things, to regenerate things. It's amazing. Tons of research, tons of testimonials on it. So that was my first thing. I was like, I can either rent this or I can buy it and make payments on it and have it forever. So that's what I chose to do. I immediately found an EES center near me, which you can do that by going to unifiedhealing.com, and you can put in your zip code and find a center by you. A lot of these centers will have packages that are economical because, again, out of pocket for me. And so I was able to do that and make payments and go frequently, often. Like I went every day actually for hours after work. Um, and so that's amazing because you're literally just infusing your body with this frequency as well as light therapy, which is huge for healing. And it just puts your body into a rest and digest state, which is huge. Like that is when your body is healing itself, is when you're sleeping. So it's so huge to get proper sleep. like huge. But I did Rife Machine, I did EES, I did the detoxes, I did so many different things. Acupuncture was another one, hyperbaric chambers was another modality, chiropractic, all of these different modalities to find. And I kind of knew that I needed to find a homeopath or a naturopath that specialized specifically in healing cancer, and helping your body to regenerate in such a way that it doesn't need to create cancer. Because cancer is like everyone has cancer cells. So when I kind of did research on what is a cancerous cell? What is that? Like, is it some, I've always thought it was some rogue outside of you kind of thing, um, or something that your body creates that is, bad. And when I just understood that it was simply a broken cell that has communication, and the medical professional who gave me the CT scan referral, she broke it down for me in this way. She said, look, I open up tumors all the time and they have teeth, they have hair. Uh, she said one even had a fully formed eyeball in the middle of it. She's like, these cells are eye cells, are, skin cells, are organ cells. And so they're just this cell. They have this communication, but they don't know where they belong. They're broken. They're not able to communicate and know where they're supposed to go. So the body is like, hey, you don't know what you're doing. You can't communicate. We can't communicate. So we're just gonna shuffle you over here. And that is the kid version of what is a kid explanation of what basically a tumor ends up being or cancer ends up being is it's just a cell that cannot communicate with the body and begins attacking the body. So again, it brings me back into this place of like everything is meant to be connected. And whenever something is disconnected and it's not able to connect and communicate, that there's going to be a dissonance. There's going to be a lack of resonance. There's going to be a lack of peace in the body, a lack of understanding in the body and function in the body, but also in the mind and also in the emotions. It's everywhere, right? In every way. And so it's been a beautiful journey of me basically processing all of that and discovering the places that were disconnected, right? I love IFS. IFS is awesome. Internal Family System is what it stands for. And IFS is one way that you can use to realize the parts of you that have either been disconnected or just not as connected as they need to be, or as honored or seen or respected or known. And you bring in all these different facets of yourself to basically be more connected. And whether that's your child self, right, your higher self, whether that's the adult in you, whether that's this phase of your life that you kind of just like moseyed on through, it could be so many different things. But the ultimate truth and the ultimate goal is to be connected. So whether that's in your physical body, whether that's in your mind, your emotions, your purpose, your will, like what your choices are in life, that they're aligned with what you feel is true for you, what you feel is part of your purpose of why you came here, and that's beautiful. So it's been a very interesting journey for me. So many facets to go into in this series, but ultimately, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the death sentence that you could feel, the failure, on you as a person. And that could even be because you don't have a perfect body, that you don't look a certain way and therefore you're not good enough. The lack of worthiness, whatever that is. I want to just encourage you to connect in with that and go deep. What does that mean? What is that connected to? In all the ways that you feel not enough, unworthy, like a failure, you feel guilty, you feel fear, you feel shame, you feel anger, you feel frustrated, resentment, all of those things matter in this journey. And so if you are in a place where you either just are not experiencing health and vitality as you feel like you should be, then I encourage you to dive into that and dive into all the ways that you could enhance and connect in with vitality and health and well-beingness. It's a holistic, experience. We are not separate. And so, in any way that you are separate, there are so many modalities, there's so many resources, there's so many um, ways that you can connect in. And I love them all and I'm enjoying them all. And I am finding a holistic alternative medicine space practitioner wellness center. I've actually was able to find it and it was so interesting how I found it, but I was able to find it and it's close to me, which is awesome. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to be heading into in this next journey for me. I've done all of the alternative things that I can do at home and even going out and going to like acupuncture, chiropractic, hyperbaric chamber, all the things, EES. I have the Rife machine here at home, but I know that the next phase is once we get out of winter is going to be another round of detoxing, heavy detoxing, but going into a wellness center that specializes in cancer, healing cancer and regenerating your body. And so I'm really excited about that and can't wait to share that and all those other resources. So I hope that you got something out of this episode. I know it was kind of scattered here and there, but there's so much to this journey and there's so much to this conversation, and I'm excited to have it with you. So there's going to be a series, and I may break it up so that we're not just only talking about this for the next couple months, because it could be a couple months of a conversation. But I definitely want to continue sharing in the journey and continue offering resources. I also think that it's been such an initiation into the program that I've been building behind the scenes called I Am Healed. The I Am Healed program is a 4-month long program that takes you through connecting through your physical, your emotional, your energetic, your mental wellness, and any place that you need to heal, that you need to connect or reconnect with. And so it's fantastic for anything physical, anything energetic, emotional, mental, could be anything that you need more support in. But because I believe that everything is connected, that is why it's 4 months long. And it's not necessarily like, oh, I just need this mental, this thought, this belief that I have. It's connected with everything. And my journey, especially, has proven that to me, that everything is connected. So you'll find that you'll go through this program and it's whatever is the core is uncovered. And so I'm really excited to offer this. And especially after everything that I've been experiencing and going through, it's just enhanced this program even more because the tools that I have found and even the sequence of events that I experienced, it has up leveled me in a way of helping and being supportive for those who are going through something similar and need support. So this is for you. I'm so excited to offer it to you. And so you can, of course, reach out, info@whitneyapke.com. Anytime that you have any questions, I'm here. But this program is also amazing resource as well as the resource guide that I'm giving for free. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I thank you so much for allowing me to share my journey with you and for giving me that grace and that compassion and that positive healing vibes as I'm on my healing journey still. And I can't wait to report back and to continue sharing this journey with you and talking about, all the different modalities and layers and things that I've learned and discovered and researched. So I'm really happy to experience that and to have the knowledge to share with you as well so that it supports you in your journey and anyone that you know. So again, if there's anyone that you know or you yourself have gone through this, I hope that this episode is supportive to you and to them. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for your support and your love. Thank you so much for your patience as it took me a few months to really get into my healing journey and to process everything and to just be in it. And I'm very protective over my energy. So thank you so much for understanding, for your love and your compassion. and for sending healing vibes my way. I send them right back to you as well in your journey. Thank you so much. Until next time.